Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome. This is TV Skywriter. Patricia A. Murray, your host. And this time in North Carolina, I automatically publish the Durham Skywriter, and that is Durham's online community paper, which you can read at durhamskywriter.com, with this TV show. Now, this is TV Skywriter local edition. So during the week, I interview people from the area, Triangle area, Durham, Raleigh, Hillsborough, whatever. So today's guest, we have Kyle Serba. He is the Director of Sports Information at North Carolina Central University. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy this new format.
Yeah, I used to be on WNCU radio, and I'm no longer with them. I elected to do this on YouTube/Google+. So thanks for that, Kyle. Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Now, ordinarily, you're behind the camera, but this time you're in front of the camera. How does it feel?
Yeah. Feels a little odd. I've been told in the past that I have a face for radio, and my job usually entails that I get other people in front of the camera instead of getting in front of it myself, but I'm happy to do it for you.
No, I think you have a face for TV, too, because I love your gravity-defying hair. that baseball player, what was his name? Pete. The guy that used to dive into first base.
Pete Rose?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have that crew cut going on.
Okay.
I like that. So something huge is happening tomorrow on campus, North Carolina University at 6 o'clock. So what's going on?
Well, it's our annual Meet the Eagles, where we give an opportunity for all of our fans to come out and actually meet face-to-face with our student athletes. So often they have an opportunity to see them from a distance perform on the field or on the court, on the track. But this is an opportunity for them to kind of get up close and shake some hands and get to know them a little better. And I think that's important for our community to engage with our student athletes on another level, to see that they are more than just student athletes. They're students. They're leaders on campus and in the community. They have engaging personalities. They're just wonderful people. That's what kind of keeps me around here for the last 21 years here at NCCU are the students and getting to know them. So it's good to give the fans the opportunity to do that as well. So our football, our women's volleyball, and our cross-country teams will be out there, as well as there will be performances by our cheerleaders and our marching band. So it should be a great day.
Nice. So actually, this is going to be like a gigantic rally then, right?
It'll probably have that feel to it. You see some cheers and, hear the band playing. That's always a draw for our games. People come out and see the entertainment besides what's going on the field. So, yeah, it should be. And admission is free, so we encourage everyone to come out, again, at 6 o'clock at O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium.
Okay. Do you have any, with tomorrow being Saturday, any parking hints? Because when my car's not working now, but I used to park over on Rosewood, a couple blocks over, and then walk over. Okay. Do you tell people to do things like that, park in the neighborhood?
Well, I would first refer them to there is a lot in between the football stadium and the LT Walker complex that does have a tendency of filling up pretty quickly, but across from the track and field, across Lawson Street, is a fairly new parking deck. And that should be open on the weekend for all of our fans to be able to park there. And then it's just a short walk to the stadium from there. So I would encourage them to try the parking deck first.
Sweet. Do you happen to know if it's free or not?
That should be free, yes. For tomorrow, it will be.
Oh, that's good to know. So do the gates open before 6?
Yeah, I'm sure folks, if they want to get out there early, 5:30, I'm sure they'll be the gates will be open at that point. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I just wanted people to know that. Now let's talk football. The season.
Okay.
What, September 5th, right?
September 5th is our opener. It's at home against a team right here in the Triangle, St. Augustine's University. So I know a lot of our former Seattle A fans will enjoy that kind of renewal of the rivalry between the two schools, and we're looking for a great turnout.
Okay, now this is going to sound really dumb because I need to follow sports more and better. When it comes to CIAA versus MEAC,
yes,
So when a MEAC, because NCCU is now in MEAC, right?
Yes.
So when you play CIAA, that counts just as much as any other game, right?
Well, it does for us. We're not in the same conference, so it won't count towards our conference record. It does count towards our overall record. So, for example, last year we were co-champions of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Well, all they took into account to determine that are our conference games. So obviously those games are important. But if you ask our coaches or our student athletes or our fans, you know, whatever game is coming up next is important. So I know they're going to be placing just as much emphasis, even though it's a non-conference game, on knocking off those Falcons over there in Raleigh.
I can't imagine putting less effort into a game simply because of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to
Right
play for yourself and your teams, right? And your fans too.
Yeah, if you go into a game and you don't have that same energy and passion, more times than not, you're going to end up with a result that you're not very happy with.
Definitely, definitely. Now let's talk volleyball.
Okay.
There's a picture circulating on Facebook, a really cool picture of these really determined looking
Yes.
women in like a V formation. And that was taken, I believe, by WTVD, our local Channel 11 ABC television station. So tell us, what's the story behind that picture? It's really cool.
Okay. Yeah, interesting story. We actually, at first it was taken by our university photographer, Chi Brown. He's out of our public relations office here at NCCU, an outstanding photographer. So every year we have our photo day with our teams. And typically, you know, folks see the pictures of our team in their uniforms, and you know, that's all well and good. That's kind of the traditional shot. But we also give coaches the opportunity to kind of showcase their student athletes in a different light and allow them to dress up, which I think is fantastic. So they took a group shot here on campus. They took several, actually. And, of course, the one that you're referring to, they do have that determined and focused look on them, which I think probably also added a little spice to the picture and why it kind of caught fire the way it did on social media. Of course, there are several others as young ladies where they were smiling and you know, looking in a different manner, but they took that opportunity to show that, hey, they mean business about what they do as student athletes and about the upcoming season. And so we happened to pick that picture out of all the pictures that we took that day, and we shared it on social media, and that was on Tuesday. So in less than 24 hours, that picture had more than 36,000 Facebook users that engaged with that picture.
Wow.
And that the funny thing about it was we posted a football team picture on Sunday, and that only had a reach of 14,000 Facebook users. So the volleyball team took great pride in knowing that they more than doubled that of the football team. So then what happened was on Thursday, we get a call from WTVD saying, hey, you know, we're hearing all about this picture on Facebook. So can you tell us about it? So that's how we got to the story and the feature that WTV did on Thursday night, and got a lot of great reviews. Again, I think it shows that our student athletes are more than just athletes, that they do dress up, they do look professional, they know how to present themselves. You know, student athlete Casey Curran said that, yeah, it makes us feel powerful. So I think that's great. You know, there's more to these young ladies than just their beauty. You know, there's so much more to that, and I think that they wanted to showcase that, and I think they did a great job of doing that. And let's face it, I hope that generates, you know, more support. As Casey, that student athlete that I mentioned, she said during the interview was, I hope all those people that saw the picture on Facebook actually come out to the gym and support us. And I think that's the goal, is to try to let people know that we have an excellent volleyball program here at NCCU, and that our student and athletes are deserving of the community support.
Nice. So when is the next volleyball?
The next volleyball game, they play here at home on September 1st against who is that? Who are they playing? It's NC State, ECU. No, they play NC State on the road in their first tournament. but then they play at home on September 1st against East Carolina University.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about the cross country team. What's going on this year?
Cross country, you know, they compete here in Durham. They've got a lot of returners on both the men's and women's squad, so we're looking for them to be fairly competitive in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. They're actually at home on October 10th. They'll have a meet that they host, and typically they do that over on Duke's campus. They've got a cross country trail that kind of winds around through the woods over there, so that's always interesting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how the NCCU cross-country athletes train, because you don't have you have a track.
Right.
But that's not the same as cross-country, is it?
It definitely is not. I mean, you got to run on whatever rugged surface they throw you on. So they do go over to different facilities. There's a kind of a makeshift cross-country trail over at Forest Hills Park in Durham, and then they do go over to the course over at Duke to get some training. But a lot of times they just do distance here on campus when they can't get off campus.
Okay. With cross country, is it possible to train on concrete, or do they have to run on the dirt?
Well, it'd be preferable on the dirt or the track. It's probably not. I'm not an expert in this area, but I don't imagine it's probably too good for runners to do a lot of training on the concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just wondering, because I figured they could run through the neighborhood, but I can't imagine if that's not the same kind of conditions that they compete in. I guess it's not a good idea.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you go back to football. Now, when you go to the local restaurants and parks and whatnot, very often you'll see an NCCU poster of the football team. And my favorite of all time was one of my favorites, but they were standing, like looking all tough and everything. And they were called the Department of Defense. So what is the slogan for this year, or have you gotten together to talk about that yet?
Yeah, well, the slogan for this year is "Leave No Doubt," because as I mentioned last year, NCCU finished in a 5-way tie for first place in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. So there were 5 teams that shared, I don't know if you want to call it bragging rights when 5 teams own a title, but there were 5 teams that kind of had to share that. Mm-hmm. Which really was a great accomplishment for NCCU, though, because the way they started the season, through the first 7 games, they actually had a losing record. So they had to come back and win 4 of their last 5 games in order to earn that right. The only loss during that stretch was to a nationally ranked Bethune-Cookman team. Hmm. And then the last day of the season, they beat rival North Carolina A&T for their first victory over a nationally ranked FCS team. So it was just a great way to finish. And it was that win that kind of forced that 5-way tie, because had we lost that game to A&T would have been the outright champion. So that's how we kind of came to the motto that it was nice to be able to make that run at the end of the year, and they feel good about earning a share of the title. But going into this year, they want to leave no doubt who the best team in the league is.
Okay, so leave no doubt. Okay. Now, 2 more things I want to cover. Now, I went to college. I went to college, extremely small college. We have a football team, and I'm fascinated by your marching band.
Okay.
Are they considered part of the athletic department? Because they seem to be really intertwined there with football.
Right. There is a lot of intertwinement going on there, because they are involved in a lot of our football games. They have a pep band that supports our basketball games. Many times when their budget enables them to do so, they travel on the road with us and give us that kind of support. So, but they are not. They're actually part of student activities. Because they are, music is a major here at NCCU. Mm-hmm. So that also is where their budget and financial support comes from, is through student activities. So they're technically not part of the athletics department, but, we know in our hearts that they are a part of what we do here in the athletics department.
Okay. I'm glad you told me that. I really enjoy them, and they're really outrageously good.
Yes. Yes, you don't want to. At halftime is not the opportunity to go and get up and get snacks at the concession stand. You got to stay in your seats at halftime. Make sure you enjoy the marching bands.
Absolutely. I think NCCU is known for having pretty much the best, right?
I will say they are one of them. Yes, there's a lot of really good bands out there. And we have a few probably coming to our stadium this year. So that's the other thing, is it's not just about NCCU's band, which they are very good, but there's some other talented bands out there as well. And so the fans probably get a twofer when they come to see the NCCU Eagles. They also get a taste of what the visiting band has to offer.
Okay. Now, I'd like to ask you what I really like about how you handle sports information. I don't know how they do it at other schools, but I like the fact that you actually have the students working with you behind cameras, doing live streaming and that kind of thing. Can you tell us the different roles that students play in getting the information out about sports, the athletics at TCU?
Sure. Well, first I'll say I take great pride in that. I feel that it's kind of our responsibility as faculty and staff at a university, institution of higher learning, that we engage with our students. And those that show interest in getting into fields that we're in, we should encourage that. And we should kind of mentor them. And I feel we've done a great job of that here in our Department of Athletics. You know, we have a lot of opportunities because we aren't staffed the way a lot of the major Division I programs are, but we still try to provide that quality product. So it takes a lot of hands, especially on game day. So the video board that we have down at our football stadium and what we provide through our video stream, all but 2 of the staff people are students. So it's probably 90% run by our students here at NCCU, whether they're operating cameras, serving as grips, helping out in the production booth with instant replay, just a variety of things that they can do on game day to help with our video production. We also have interns that work in our office, and they're involved in the day-to-day, just being kind of behind the scenes right here in our office. We, mission control, getting it done, and just learning about what it's like to be in this field. And I think it's been a blessing for us. Hopefully, they get as much out of it as we do, and we've had some pretty good success with some students that go on to careers in these types of fields. So it feels good when that happens.
So they can actually add that to their resume and actually get jobs in that field?
No question. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it. I tell students all the time, if you focus, you should focus on your grades, because that makes a difference. You got to learn as much as you can in your classroom, but when you leave, that GPA and that degree are only going to take up 1 or 2 lines on your resume. How are you going to fill up the rest of your resume? So while you're on college campus, there are several opportunities to get involved and just volunteer. And those experiences matter. If you put yourself in situations where you can get some real life work experience, now you're not going to get paid for it, but let's face it, in college you can afford to do that. But once you get out of college, you've got bills to pay. You can't afford to be volunteering as much as you really need to in order to get some effective work experience out of an opportunity. So take advantage of the time where you're in college. Don't take as many naps. Don't play as many video games. Go and volunteer on campus and get some experience that's going to help you for the rest of your life.
I definitely agree with you. Now, just the fact that I'm into computers and the online thing now, for a person of my age, that's pretty darn good, because I have to say, no, really, I used to work at an engineering firm in Chicago, Sargent and Lundy, and when I had nothing to do, instead of putting my feet up and reading the paper, I would float around to the different departments, and I ended up learning. They got so tired of me peeking in on the graphic artist that they taught me how to do keyline and paste up.
Okay.
I learned about, and also Sargent and Lundy was a test site for the precursor to the Mac computer. It was, wow. I think it was Xerox, I believe. Okay. They were first with the GUI graphic interface, whatever. Anyway, I got to learn about this computer world, so to speak, just by snooping around and peeking around and being let in and volunteering to help. And now that I'm, much older, I'm able to, roll with the flow, do this online thing, create my own job. So, yeah. I mean, for the young kids in college, I should say young people in college and people in my age group, I'll be 60 this year, volunteering is a big deal.
Yes.
Even
you never stop learning.
Yeah, you should never stop learning. That's for sure.
I've heard somebody say if you stop learning, you stop growing.
Exactly. Now, I am curious though, when it comes to not just the student athletes, but the student musicians who are also, like you said, doing the music behind the scenes and whatnot, and out front during halftime. And then you have your students doing the camera work. I suppose they're doing streaming too. You didn't tell us about the live streaming, right? Did you?
Yeah, we take the video stream that we put on the video board and we actually send that to the internet. And then we kind of tag that with our radio broadcast. And so people can actually get on their computers or their mobile phones and actually watch the game as if they were watching it on TV.
That's what I wanted people to hear. That's wonderful. So all of these students all working together, does that form a huge team, or do you work separately and then come together on game day? I'm talking about the musicians, the bands, the communications people, and the athletes.
No, it is. We actually have meetings throughout the week of trying to coordinate all those efforts. It'd be very difficult just to show up on game day and expect everything to have a flow to it. So we actually have a script of when throughout a football game, timed out as to when everything is supposed to happen. So throughout the pregame, everything is timed down according to what time is on the scoreboard clock, and then what's going on during the first timeout, what's going on in the second timeout. So it's all scripted throughout the game so that it does have a flow to it and there's some organization to it. So it's definitely a team effort, not just with, athletics and the band and the cheerleaders, but there's so many things behind the scenes. I mean, in our game operations meeting, we have representatives from facility services, from campus police, from the academic side, from alumni relations, because there's so many things involved that you wouldn't normally think of that has an impact on game day.
Wow. You just named some entities I was not even aware of in terms of coordinating with you. And you've been, you said 21 years, so you obviously have a real excellent grasp on how to keep everything moving real smooth.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that academics would be something that we would consider on a Saturday afternoon, but we do run into where there's either tests that are being taken on campus or there are some Saturday classes offered on campus. So we have to coordinate with those instructors and those students, because normally we would shut down campus for parking and they would have to pay in order to access to go to their classes. So we have to make other arrangements as far as where they can park to be able to access their classes. So just something as simple as that you wouldn't normally think of, but that all involves coordination.
Okay. So to wind this up, I'd like for you to go over again, for those of us who are following the Eagles, big fans, how we can keep up with you in terms of going online, websites.
Yeah. Well, first I'd say the main area is our website. So that's nccueaglepride.com. We actually maintain that here in our office. But if you're into the social media stuff, on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/NCCU Athletics, or we're at NCCU Athletics on Twitter. The same for Instagram. And then we're on YouTube as well with at NCCU Eagles. So we try to go where our fans are, and we know our fans are real active on social media, and as you are on YouTube. So we try to make sure we provide a little bit of something for everybody.
I love that. Do you think the other schools do it as well as you? I'm not trying to be overly complimentary, but I don't know how the other schools run.
Yeah, I think they do. I think everybody does a good job, and they dabble in it. They know they have to. It's something that if you're not there, you're missing out. You've got to be where your fans are. So I'm real, appreciative. I think we do a great job. I always strive to make sure that we're the best in our league and one of the best in the country. I take great pride in that, and my staff does as well. We've got 2 new staff members, Kevin Buchek, who's been an SID for a long time here in North Carolina. He joined our staff this spring, and Jonathan Dern, who handles our broadcast media coordination. He's brand new to us, started in August. He came from an HBCU out of South Carolina State University. So with that staff, I think we're one of the best in our league. So we take great pride in what we do.
Wonderful. And one last point. I remember during one of my interviews with you on WNCU, you said sometimes when you have a winning team, or often when you have a winning team, that somehow translates to more people wanting to go to that school.
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, when you look at the exposure, I'll give an example right here. When our men's basketball team 2 years ago went to the NCAA tournament, the exposure that we received for that was just phenomenal. I mean, national TV exposure. So what that does is people across the country, they may not even know about NCCU. Now all of a sudden they hear about NCCU and they want to find out a little more. So they go to the website. When they go to the website, they're like, wow, this is a pretty cool school. I'm going to check out, and maybe they have my major. And then it just, one thing leads to another, and your enrollment numbers and application numbers start going up. I mean, it's been proven time and time again at schools that make big runs or have big wins. Appalachian State, when they beat Michigan a few years ago in football, I mean, that just kind of catapulted Appalachian State from this, small school in the North Carolina mountains to now they're one of the top football programs in the country on a regular basis, and they've actually jumped up a level. They've had so much support. So athletics has a way of putting a lot of small schools on the big stage. I think the school that we share Durham, North Carolina with is a prime example of that. As good as the academics are over at Duke University.
And other school.
Yeah, no, we love Duke. We love Duke. We've formed a great partnership with Duke, and they've been great for us, and we've had a good relationship with them, especially since moving to Division I. But again, as good as their academics are, people all over the world don't know Duke because of their strong science program, right? They know Duke University because of their basketball program and Coach K has done for that program. People all over the world wear Duke shirts. They wear Carolina shirts. It's not because necessarily of their academics. It's because their athletic programs have really put them on that national or global map. So, that's kind of what we're trying to do by making that move a few years ago from Division II to Division I. We don't want to just be a regional university. We want to be a national university. And the athletics department helps brand the university on a national level.
And one thing that might help keep NCCU out in front, one thing I try to do when I see stores that carry Duke, I've seen stores here in Durham. They'll have shirts and paraphernalia from Duke, UNC, and believe it or not, NC State, which is in Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no NCCU, but you have NC State.
Right.
It's
starting to change. Again, I think they were able to justify that a few years ago because we were a Division II school. Now that we're Division I and we often get mentioned in the same light as the other, the big three in our area, then it's starting to change. There are more vendors now in the Triangle area that carry NCCU products, and what we need is for our fans to go out and support those people. They need to go out and buy that product, because what happens is if they have it on their shelves and it doesn't sell, then they're not going to carry it any longer. So it's important for our fans that when they do spot vendors that support NCCU, that we need to support them as well.
Good point. And they need to make themselves known as well.
Yes.
Okay. Kyle Serba, thank you so much. So our first TV interview went really well.
Thank you.
So
I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. So folks, what you need to do is to go to, let me get this right, correct me if I'm wrong, NCCUEaglePride.com.
That's correct.
Okay. And with that, thank you, Kyle Serba. He is the Director of Sports Information at North Carolina Central University here in Durham, North Carolina. I'm Patricia A. Murray. If you'd like to be on the show, just write to me, Durham Skywriter at gmail.com. The Durham Skywriter is Durham's online community paper at durhamskywriter.com. So with that, ciao for now, and I'll see you later. See you, Kyle.
Bye.